I think my best friend is in love with my wife, and her responses to his advances deeply worry me. My lifelong best friend has always found my wife to be very attractive, and he has on many occasions told me if I was not in the picture he would go for her in a heartbeat. I used to take it as a compliment until he always mentioned it, and I confronted him about whether or not he actually liked my wife. He said that I was his best friend, and even though he did find my wife to be almost irresistible, he would never try to do anything with her as I was his boy. This conversation was one we had 6 months ago and it put me at ease, but just a month later he moved on from telling me how hot he finds her, to literally saying it to her. He was over at our house and when we all had a few drinks in us he commented to my wife that I am a lucky man because, and he proceeded to look her up and down, and then go wow. I told him to knock it off, but my wife just laughed and told me not to take it so seriously. Now, my wife has always been a very flirty person, to the point where I've had to tell her not to be so flirty with everyone on many occasions because it makes me uncomfortable, but the thing is, I trust her completely. Whenever she does flirt, I worry not because I don't trust her, but because I don't trust whoever she is jokingly flirting back with. In this case it is different I suppose. I have every reason to believe that I should trust my best friend. So, back to the night my best friend was over. The next day I asked him not to make comments like that to my wife and he said he was cool with it, but the next time he was over he did it again, and just like last time, my wife laughed and said that his girlfriend must be an equally lucky woman. They both laughed, leaving me in awe as I watched my best friend flirt with my wife as she reciprocated. The next piece of evidence you could say came another month later when my best friend sent my wife his gym progress pics and asked her what she thinks of them. The only reason I found this out is because she received a text off him while we were both looking at her phone, and she tried to hide the chat. Their conversation about the gym pics happened to be the most recent, and the pictures themselves seemed very inviting, with him flexing topless, and my heart responding with shocked face and heart eyes emoji, once again saying that his girlfriend was very lucky. She managed to convince me at the time that it was nothing, and I let it go. I saw no more evidence until one more month later when we all went out on double date. By the end of the night we all ended up in my house having some drinks, and my best friend and wife decided to go out and smoke in the backyard, but when his girlfriend and I asked to join we were not allowed because they were having a private chat. I was slowly losing my mind over the course of the next while because I did not want to face the reality that they are hooking up, and I still don't. But yesterday came a hard slap in the face which makes me finally realize that they are likely hooking up. I don't want to believe it but I may have too. Leading up to this came a few more instances of them texting and playfully touching each other's arms when together, but nothing very major that would be a red flag alone, but since I had my suspicions I was as attentive as a hawk the whole time. Anyway, yesterday I saw on my wife's email that there was a hotel booked for 2 people but in a room with 2 single beds for a getaway next weekend, and saw that the booking had been registered under my wife's and my best friend's name. Later that day I asked my wife if she was free next weekend to visit my parents with me just to gauge her reaction, but she said she couldn't as she was actually planning to go to one of her girlfriend's birthdays and stay the weekend since the trip is states away. I had caught her out, but I said nothing. I just know she is likely cheating on me, but the fact that there are 2 single beds instead of a double gives me hope. The whole week leading up to my wife's getaway I did not do much, and I also never disclosed to her that I knew anything about her booking a hotel room with my best friend. I acted totally normal and it worked, and when she left on Saturday morning I went to work. I contacted my best friend's girlfriend and told her I had something really serious to talk to her about and asked her to meet up with me. She asked me what it was about and I told her there was too much to summarize in a text. We met up and I explained the entire story to her, but then told her that they did book the room with 2 single beds so maybe we shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. She looked at me as if I was an idiot and told me that they are, without a shadow of a doubt, hooking up. And that if the past few months has taught us anything it is that they perceive us as such idiots that they think they can flirt in front of us and have us think there's nothing going on when they're booking entire weekend getaways in hotel rooms. Oh, but it's okay because there's single beds in the room. Not gonna lie, hearing it put this way was something I needed, and it was a brutal reality check. My best friend's girlfriend and I decided to give my wife a call first. When she picked up I asked how the birthday was and she told me it was going well, and then I asked if my best friend was also there by any chance as I have not been able to reach him. She stuttered but said no. Then I proceeded to ask was there any chance she was at, and I named the exact hotel she was in with my best friend. She told me she could explain, and so I let her talk. She told me that my best friend has been feeling down lately, his parents have not been treating him well and his home life with his girlfriend was terrible and he needed to escape for a few days, but he thought I was working and didn't want to take the day off. So he asked my wife instead. I told her that was the biggest load of bullcrap ever, because his girlfriend was sitting right next to me and she says that she has been having suspicions of them two being together the same way I do. I told my wife I know my friend was with her, and I told her that she better come back ASAP with the world's greatest explanation or else we are through. She tried to say that they were not engaging in anything and swore on her mother's grave, but I hung up on her. It's currently Sunday night and my wife decided to spend the rest of the getaway in the hotel instead of coming home after I called. She's coming home tomorrow and I have no idea what to expect. So my wife came home and she did not come alone. She brought my best friend with her because apparently she felt unsafe coming into the home. I asked her if she really thought I was going to do anything to her and she said no, but just in case. That sentence alone ended our marriage and I did not care for her explanation, and even if she did convince me that they were not hooking up I had my mind set on divorce. And then she opened her mouth and somehow managed to make things so much worse. She did not come with apologies for going behind my back or excuses about why she felt she needed to take a getaway weekend with my best friend to help him out. Instead she came at me with accusations. Apparently, the reason she took the getaway was because she also needed a break from me. Apparently I don't do enough around the house, I don't support her enough mentally or financially, and she took some time to think about the relationship and needed my best friend to come help her out. I stood in shock as I listened to her ramble about me not helping enough, knowing damn well that she is a stay-at-home wife who makes no income and still lives lavishly, and despite this is unable to even do 50% of the household chores. I work 40 to 50 hours and still do most of the chores and find time to spend time with my wife every single day, whether that's watching movies, organizing dates, having entire days out to ourselves, but she has the audacity to claim I don't do enough. My wife then continued talking and managed to say something that made me hate her guts even more than I already did. She stated that after thinking it through, she realized she was willing to forgive me and move on from this, but she had an ultimatum for me. She told me that before coming here, her and my best friend went over to his girlfriend's place and she broke up with him and kicked him out. She said that his stuff is in her car outside, and the only way she is willing to stay with me is if I let my best friend move in rent-free and let him stay in the house without working so he can emotionally heal. I looked at her and said okay, then asked them if they could go and get his stuff. As soon as they stepped outside, I locked the door. My wife didn't bring a key with her when she went on the holiday, and this backfired greatly on her as she and my now ex-best friend were stranded outside with no way to get in. I told her through the upstairs window that she and him can go wherever they want, but we are over and I never want to see either of them again. Considering this house is in my name because I bought it, I have no worries. I'm going to start the divorce process as soon as I can. I also called my ex-best friend's ex-girlfriend and told her what happened, and she laughed her butt off. We have also agreed to rebound with each other out of spite and figured that maybe doing this will make the process easier as we will have someone to release the tension with.